When a man really likes you, that process of falling in love can trigger fears in him that can cause him to pull away or act distant. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 hidden fears that men have when they are falling in love. And in fact, number 4 almost sabotaged my relationship with my wife. So trust me, understanding these 5 fears can help you navigate those uncertain moments when you might feel like the guy that you're with is pulling away or acting distant. Now, as we dive into this, I want to make a disclaimer that none of what I'm going to talk about today, none of these 5 hidden fears are an excuse for your man not to communicate openly and honestly with you, not to tell you what at least his awareness of what's going on. Chances are he might not be fully aware of what these hidden fears are, because often they're subconscious and they need help unpacking or at least pulling back the layers of what's going on. So you understanding these 5 fears can actually help him navigate this process. There's this rhythm and there's this flow and a momentum, and then all of a sudden you feel his energy pull back. It's like he's put his foot on the emotional brakes and you feel like everything's great. Like there's nothing that happened. There wasn't a fight that occurred. There wasn't a disagreement. There wasn't like some event that went down, and there's a part of you that's wondering what's going on. Maybe you've got like this pit in your stomach because it's happened before where things are going great and then it all starts to fall apart. In that moment, you want to stand on solid ground knowing that the two of you can have open, honest communication, and if it's meant to be, the two of you are going to find your way. The first fear is a big one, and that's the fear of rejection. And you might be thinking, well, that's weird. Why would he have a fear of rejection? Because we're both dating one another. Well, keep in mind, this is as he discovers that he's really falling for you, that fear can rise up, especially if you're in the dating process to the point where the two of you aren't 100% committed, or you haven't said that you love each other yet, or you're still in the earlier stages. What can happen is early, he'll come across confident, he'll be leaning in, he'll be interacting because the stakes are lower. He's not in love yet. You've experienced this as well, I'm sure. The moment you really like someone, like the stakes go up. My wife was telling me the other day, she was like, we were talking about when we were dating and the different process. And she goes, Matt, like after the 3rd date, I got so scared because I knew I really liked you. And if you didn't like me the same way, I was going to be devastated, right? Like there's this moment where we kind of go off the cliff and we're like, oh, I really like this person. So when he gets there and he kind of leaps off the cliff emotionally before he even consciously chooses to, he just kind of goes into this state of like, wow, I really like her. He feels himself off balance. He feels himself leaning in emotionally. And so in that moment, he can pull back to try to recalibrate himself to reduce the risk of potentially you not reciprocating how much you like him as well. The second fear that he has as he's noticing how much he likes you and how he's falling in love with you is the fear of not being good enough. It's an original fear that we all have, which is the fear of inadequacy. Can I measure up for her? Can I make her happy? Can I provide for her in a way that she wants? And so that fear really gets triggered when we go from just hanging out and having a great time to, oh wow, like I'm falling in love with this woman. Like I could see a life with this person. Do I have what it takes? And the irony is, if he's feeling like maybe he doesn't, he's feeling like maybe he's not where you want to be. I can remember a friend of mine pulling back from a relationship with a woman that he ultimately married. Dating this woman, ultimately married her. He pulled back, almost sabotaged this because he thought that what she really wanted and needed was a house. And he couldn't buy a house for her. And they weren't even married yet, but somehow he had wired up in his head that before he can really move forward in this relationship and ask her to marry him, he's got to already be able to buy a house. So he pulled back, the relationship got all rocky. And then when they actually came together and talked about it, this came out and she was like, honey, I don't want a house. We don't need a house right now. We're going to work together to get a house down the line. And so how interesting is that? That a hidden fear and expectation that he had of himself, of what he thought it meant to provide and make her happy, wasn't even connected to the reality. But that's the case for all of us, men. We have certain assumptions that we're making about how we need to be in order to provide for you. And those can cause him to pull back if he feels like he's not going to hit the mark. The third fear is a fear of loss of control, right? Or a loss of your life being as successful as it can be today. So if he feels like he's on a mission and he's building towards a business or building towards a goal or creating a purpose for his life. Then as he starts to fall in love, and there are moments when he would normally be in a business meeting or normally be focused on his business or growing that particular work, and now he's thinking about you because he's in love with you and you're dominating his thoughts, that can be very scary for him because the success that he's gained has come from the focus he's put on that business. And now he's seeing that his focus is pulled, his focus is split, and that fear will often cause him to pull away. My wife, when we were dating, I was going to move to Southern California, living in Oregon. She came up, hung out with me. We dated for a year. Now I want to move to Southern California and really give this a chance. And there was this moment where I called her, and I'm literally weeks away from moving. We've been planning this for a couple months, and she's going to fly up, help me move down, and we're a couple weeks away. And I'm calling her, and I'm checking out places where I'm going to live. Well, I could live in this city or I could live in that city, and I'm just going to rent for a little while. And she said, well, just don't expect that when you move down here that we're going to hang out all the time. And I'm like, wait a minute. So talk to me. I'm not moving down there to not hang out with you. I'm moving down there for us to be able to spend more time than we're spending right now, like once a month. Are you having some concerns or some fears about me moving down there? And that was a perfect opening for her to actually get vulnerable and share her fears. And she was like, I'm finishing school right now and it's super important to me to achieve this goal. And one of the fears is that if you move down here, it's going to take over my life and I'm not ultimately going to finish school and that we're going to get married right away. And I'm not ready for that. And I said, oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up because I am not ready to get married either. I'm moving down there for us to explore one another and to hang out. What amount of hanging out really feels good to really keep that dream of finishing your school? And we began to talk about it. And we began to co-create a life that would serve both of us. But the fear of loss of control is a very real fear that can linger under the surface, especially when we feel our emotions and our mindset gravitating towards this other person. As we unpack these, maybe you've experienced these same fears because these aren't just sequestered to men. Women have these same fears as well, as I described with my wife. And so let's dive into fear number 4, which is fear of commitment, which is sort of a strange fear when you think about it because this person is falling in love with you. So why would falling in love with you evoke this fear of commitment? And I really think that this fear of commitment is more of a fear of the unknown of commitment. And here's what this means. This person is knowing that if they really commit to you, that they're going to shift their life. If they really commit to you, they're going to devote themselves to you. This person has been used to dating. This person has been used to keeping options open. So it's foregoing all the unknown options that they don't even know are present, but that might come up. It's also the fear of the unknown around what's that commitment going to be like. Are they going to be able to really live into it? Is it going to be suffocating or is it going to be life-giving? Is it going to be the type of life and the quality of life that they ultimately want? And what will happen is if they let that fear start to get a hold of them, the imagination will run wild and they'll start imagining ways in which it won't be life-giving. They'll imagine ways in which it'll feel worse than it feels right now, which is crazy because the relationship is going great, right? But here's what happens. All of these fears, and we'll get to fear number 5 in just a moment, but all these fears are driven by a hidden subconscious mechanism called upper limit. You see, he's dating you because he wants connection. He's dating you because he ultimately, deep down, he wants that really deep personal relationship with another human being. But if he's coming from being single, then his level of intimacy, his level of love, his level of connection is growing beyond wherever its normal set point is. And so what happens is this subconscious mechanism, just like a thermostat, when it gets too hot, kicks in and tries to dial the energy back down, and will often dial it down by installing some of these fears, not to mention the fear of commitment. So as you begin to understand these, you can begin to unpack these and help him understand, well, what are you committing to? Let's create a common vision. What is it? What would be life-giving for you? And let's dream it up. And this brings me to the final fear, which is very similar to fear of commitment, which is fear of failure. And fear of failure is this fear that says, if I devote all my energy to this, if I really let myself fall in love fully, if I really give myself over and it doesn't work out, then that will be a major disaster for my life. Like I will be so heartbroken. I'm going to be so crushed. Not only that, but it's going to damage my business. It's going to damage my reputation. It's going to damage, and it's the imagination going wild on what might happen if this doesn't work out. Just like the fear of commitment was one of my major fears, it was combined with this fear of failure. It was, do I really want to commit? Am I ready? And what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't work out? Because at that moment in my business, I had written a book on relationships. I had toured the country and interviewed America's greatest marriages on what makes love last. And then I had built a coaching business around that in relationships. And the fear was, and it was deep in the back of my mind, that if you get married and it doesn't work out, then you are going to be the laughing stock. If you get married and it doesn't work out, not only are you going to lose your marriage, but you're going to lose your business. And your whole life will be destroyed. That's what the paradigm, that's what the fear was telling me. And so I had to recognize that and say, no, like everyone goes through a certain degrees of fears when they're going to change their life to what it is that they would ultimately love. So I had to sequester that fear, heal that fear, move it to the side, and make an empowered decision that says, no, this is what I'm doing and this is what I want. So my question for you is, as you've fallen in love, what are the fears that have risen up that have tried to hold you back? Go ahead and post those in the comment section below, because as you do, other people who are unaware that that was their fear will discover it and be freed from it, because fears cannot live under the light of awareness. So here's to your amazing love life, your expansive love experience. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.